I owe you an answer. There was a question that was an excellent question that I didn't answer fully, and I want to do that now. And that great question was how to not fall back into the old pattern when life gets stressful. Couple of answers for that. The immediate one is you don't. While you are dysregulated, you are not regulated enough to keep up your routine, you don't stress out yourself by demanding that now you again pick up your routine in order to get regulated, and you don't give yourself a hard time about not keeping up your routine, right? Otherwise, we have a loop of lack of self-compassion. Then it's shame only. I should. A list of should is the opposite of self-compassion, self-love, and it is not compatible with regulation. So cut yourself some slack and just acknowledge that you are presently, once that happens, that you are presently dysregulated. There can always come some things that throw us out of the routine. These are usually not problematic unless we are dysregulated. And the actual answer, the more difficult and profound answer, is actually already in the question. How not to fall back into old patterns when life gets stressful. That means the underlying pattern is dysregulated. That means dysregulated is the normal. And we have to do all the morning routine and all the soothing things in order to even be in a somewhat balanced state. Right? That is how most of us, unfortunately, live, and how we come to use and learn regulation. We call it regulation, and it feels soothing in the moment, but in reality, it is just coping. It is not being regulated. It is just helping us cope. And that is quite dangerous, actually, because it keeps us functional, right? Because we think we are regulated, or I have instruments to cope. We continue doing that. And that will become quite dangerous, because this does not go on forever. It has a half-life, and it will crumble in a really bad way, and a way from which it will be quite difficult then to get out. So the less dysregulated we are presently, always, of course, the easier it is to get profoundly stable and regulated. Clear, right? When I'm totally all over the place, everything is out of whack, then that will be difficult. But while I'm in a phase where I'm still okay, I don't have 10 different systemic issues, I'm still verbal, I can still walk, all these normal things, I can still get up and do my things every day, take a shower. As long as that's still the case, I can get deeply regulated. And that difference, that we are not in a position anymore, can come like that. I've experienced it. I was 2 years bedridden, just from that, on that pretense of regulation collapsing on me. That's why I'm so keen on, telling the warning signs, because I learned it the hard way. So the old pattern is the problem, that this is the pattern at all. And the good thing is that once you are really profoundly regulated, one time fully stabilized, that pattern can be replaced. Then what you fall back to is not dysregulation, right? Then when something comes, some difficult life situation comes, that is not possible to do things at the same time every day, that will always be the case. Then what we fall back to is not a state of dysregulation that we then have to manage, but we fall back into something that is quite solid, quite stable, and is not difficult to work with. And there are techniques for that time in between. For those who learned the profound regulation, who have once been in that state, but that state is still new to them. So then there's that impulse, I want to keep it, and that is not necessary then to be all, proactive about it. But there are some tricks with how we can use some minimum viable things that once we have been profoundly stabilized, do a good trick, do a very similar thing that will keep it up also on days and in phases where we just don't have the time. So these are there in place, and they're also very, nice and very quick. And I also do them sometimes. But knowing that the underlying mechanism has been replaced. It's like a program that's no longer running. And I vividly remember that program. It was not easy. Everything took much more effort, right? I spent a lot of time. I needed like 2 or 3 hours to even get normal, to functioning, regulated in a nervous system way. And I think that is also, a difficulty of our attitude we are being forced into, basically, that we are allowed the amount of, self-care, self-love that we can cope. It's always pertaining to capacity. So if you can cope, then it's all right and good enough. And that is such a trap. And self-optimization and self-regulation techniques are very near to each other, and we have to be careful to not see it as tools or something performance-related. When I cannot do my morning routine, then I have failed, and then it's my fault that I'm dysregulated, these things. That's what we want to get completely decoupled from, right? From that whole dynamic. That's what we want to leave once and for all. And that is the answer. There's no easy trick or fix before the stabilization, but after the stabilization there are some quick and easy fixes to return to it.